Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Walking Dead video for today, leading up to the second half for The Walking Dead Season 9 when it returns in February. In this one, we're going to give our thoughts on who will win between Daryl versus Beta, and we'll do our video predictions. And spoiler warning, if you guys are not caught up for The Walking Dead, which means if you haven't seen up to the mid-season finale for The Walking Dead Season 9 yet. So still kind of coming down after last night's episode. That was quite the high, getting to see the end of that episode go through. And if you guys have missed, my videos in the last day, basically I've been saying that I thought the mid-season finale was incredible. We did a review for the episode, the mid-season finale. We did a breakdown of the trailer, because there's so much good stuff in this trailer for the second half of this season. It's incredible, and you got to see the trailer if you want to understand this one, because in it there's a part that we go over in the breakdown video between Daryl and Beta in a confrontation which ensues, a violent confrontation. It looks awesome, so we'll get into that. But this one will be the predictions on, at least for that part, and overall in general for what we think we'll see probably in episode 9, which will be the return episode, and it looks like the second week of February here. Man, this one just looks awesome. So you can see, it's hard to tell exactly what environment they're fighting in, if it's some kind of abandoned building or something like this. Either way, it looks like Beta approaches Daryl and they get into it, and Daryl cuts him twice with the knives, because he's got the dual knives that he's been using, which is fantastic. And he's had those for a long time, because he actually had those before the time skip. So he must have had at least one or both of those knives really for like 6 or 7 years now. Long time. So it's maybe not quite as old school as the crossbow, but they're pretty old school. So he looks like he cuts Beta twice. Looks like he cuts him on like one arm and then maybe the other, but it doesn't seem to phase Beta, as Beta kind of goes into tackle mode and kind of comes down, picks him up and slams him, whiplash style against the wall, and the wall kind of bends in, which is awesome. Yes, I've seen it in slow-mo a number of times. It's fantastic, and oh my god, it's so cool, man. So to get to see Daryl fight Beta. So one prediction that came in a little while ago was that in the comic book series, Beta has 2 knives. And in the TV series version, the Beta that we see doesn't appear to be holding any weapons of any kind. I don't see any, at least in the parts they show in the trailer, I don't see him carrying any knives like he does in the comic book series. Negan calls him Frowny McTwo knives. I don't know. Negan says weird stuff sometimes. So, because he carries 2 big knives and he uses them too. So, in the TV series version, we don't see that. So, one of the popular theories that's come out already is that in this fight between Daryl and Beta that we're going to be seeing, because we can see it in the trailer, so it's coming up. We know it's going to happen. Could Beta either defeat Daryl or beat Daryl and take his knives? And then maybe leave Daryl laying there or something. So I think that would be really cool. It'd be cool if, you had Daryl kind of injure him with the knives like he does, and then maybe Beta knocks him out when he slams him against the wall or something, or the fight goes on a little bit longer, and then he KOs Daryl or something, and then he takes the knives with him and leaves. So not that I would want to see Daryl lose to Beta, right? But we got to remember, this is the introduction for the Whisperers, so the typical kind of way to go with this would be to have the Whisperers come in strong, and then and really kind of rough up our survivors, and then the survivors have to retaliate afterwards, right? So, and it looks like that might be what we're seeing. They're talking about the fair coming up, and of course we just saw with Jesus there at the end of episode 8 and what happened with that. Still though, the survivors did take out more Whisperers than the Whisperers took out of the survivors, even in their first kind of encounter. But oh my god, does this ever look awesome. So I guess what I'm saying here is, between the two of them, who would win, Daryl versus Beta, or who will win? I'm going to go with Beta in the TV series version, because he's new. He's got to come in looking strong, and I don't think it's going to make Daryl look weak or anything of the sort. I think it's just that Daryl doesn't necessarily know what he's dealing with here, and it looks like he's involved in most of the action and the confrontations that are going on here. So I'm going to go with Beta on this one. I think he's going to take it. Not that I want him to. I'd rather see Daryl win. And maybe somehow Daryl can beat him to the point where he can escape or get out of there. And maybe Beta somehow takes a knife or both of his knives. Those are predictions, not spoilers. I don't have any inside info. I just think it's a really good idea, and I think it's kind of interesting that Daryl has been carrying knives just like the knives that Beta has in the comic series. So it seems to I like the theory. It fits a lot, and it makes sense to me that the Beta might win this first battle against him, and then maybe later on you have Daryl kind of come back against Beta and beat him later, right? I mean, that's the usual kind of formula that you go for this type of thing in a story. So, of course, if you guys missed the breakdown video, there's also the confrontation between Daryl at the gates or the fences of the hilltop and Alpha, which just looks, again, mind-blowingly amazing. I cannot wait to see how that whole thing goes down. I'm not sure how much this is going to be in the very first episode, the mid-season premiere, but it looks like either way, if we get to see, maybe if we don't get to see Daryl versus Beta in that first episode, maybe that could be a second or third episode of the back half, so episode like 10 or 11 or something. But man, episode 9 should be really great when it returns in February, because just getting to meet Alpha for the first time, just getting to see the TV series version of her, that's going to be really cool, man. And so far, I've just been really impressed by just the look of the Whispers. They look like something. They look like something out of a horror movie. Is what they do. They they look more like horror movie characters than probably any that we have ever seen in the Walking Dead TV series before. This is amazing, dude. I can't wait to see this. As far as other predictions, I do think we'll probably see a flashback of Michonne and what happened between the communities, so we get some idea of what went on. Some people are predicting or leaving comments that they think that Michonne may have kind of gone on a bit of a rampage. Maybe she went after the people from the ocean side, or she went after some of them because of what happened with Rick. You would think that after Rick, his death, supposed death, or disappearance, that she might be on a little bit of a rampage and not be willing to talk to anybody. And if she finds out anybody was involved, she might kind of go after them. So, that's brings us some good questions. But specifically, what happened between her and Alexandria and Carol and the Kingdom is hard to say. And whether or not they're going to help them now, we'll have to see. And, if we're going to see the communities all join together again, hopefully we will. And I think the Whispers will probably make them unite back together, because otherwise, how are they going to take out the Whispers if they're not unified? They're going to need to unify to mess with the Whispers, I think. Also, the fact that the combat is so much different now, because you don't have guns like during All Out War where they're shooting bullets everywhere. We get the sense that basically this is all hand-to-hand kind of stuff, unless Eugene can step up and start cranking out and producing some more ammo for us, right? So good stuff as far as that goes. Predictions for Negan and what's going on with that. So that's just another awesome thing that they're doing, really having Negan escape, which I feel like it's been a good amount of time. He's been in the background for a while. He hasn't been at the forefront. He probably won't be at the forefront because we have the Whispers and a new threat here. He's not much of a threat by himself right now. He's really just kind of a lone character out there in the world, trying to find his place again after the sanctuary is most likely probably totally empty. I mean, maybe he can run into some saviors, but it pretty much looks like to me like they're basically all dead. Minus the ones, of course, that have joined our different communities, like Laura in Alexandria. So, good stuff there. Really happy, man. Can't wait to see this back half. And in terms of like the overall season or the overall back half predictions, I think the Whispers will probably take up, pretty much the entire back half of this season. And that will most likely just be kind of the start or a good portion of it. And I would expect them to be back for next year, too. I would expect them to be back for season 10, and at least half of season 10, if not the entire season. So they'll probably be about a season and a half type of villains is what I'm thinking. So they'll probably be around for quite a while, and man, it should be great. Possibly even longer than that. Maybe you go, instead of a year and a half, maybe you do 2.5 years or something like that. But they might not want to stretch it out too far, because that was one of the complaints about All Out War. That said, if we see a Whisperer War, then that could be like season 10 or something. Either way, it's going to be difficult for them to surpass surpass what they've already done this season. So those are kind of my predictions right now on how I'm feeling overall for the series and what I think we're going to see and some of the conflicts there. Going to be really good stuff, man. And we'll do a few more questions for today. We did do a video earlier as well about Walking Dead basically killing it and pretty much saving the show. I feel like all this stuff that we've seen recently is like this is what they needed to do in order to keep this ship afloat, and they did it, and it's great. Skiba TV says 10/10 roll on February, so it's apparently, according to, I haven't checked this date, but according to Skiba, it's the 10th day of February. So hopefully that's. Hopefully that's when we see it back. That'd be a good release time because sometimes they don't release it until later on in the month. But this year they kind of started early, which is good. So I hope that's correct. Mr. Rose says people wearing dead people's faces. So I like that one. Of course, going back here to Clear with Morgan, and I like that also after Rosita kind of ran into the Whispers with Eugene, she started kind of losing her mind. And it's always been a fan theory that maybe Morgan had run into the Whispers, and so he was kind of losing his mind afterwards, or they left him kind of going crazy and hearing voices and stuff. So that's really cool. People wearing dead people's faces. There's no way I think we'll ever get any confirmation of whether or not he actually did run into Whispers at some time, but I do think it could be plausible considering the amount of time that is in between Clear and now that the Whispers go out and find their territory there after Clear and everything else had happened. Even though it is quite a distance away from where he was in King County, still, you could see that happen, and certainly him saying that is quite strange when you meet the Whispers. And it's like, after you run into them, you might think you're losing your mind. You might go kind of crazy, right? Dark Star says, Ryan Hurst didn't forget how to tackle Remember the Titans. So that's funny. No, he didn't, and oh man, it looks really cool. AK-47 Domination said the story of the season has gotten nuts, and I agree, man. It's gotten really amazing, absolutely. My Stuff says, who gives a shit any longer? Everybody dies, the end, period. Well, eventually in real life too, everybody eventually dies, right? We're all going to die at some point, even if it's, hopefully when we're in our 90s or as long as possible. But in the TV series version, you basically have a different take because, of course, Rick is left and Carl is dead, and so it's different. But there's going to be different characters that are going to come to the forefront. There's going to be different people that are going to be there, and it's going to be exciting to see that. It's going to be awesome to see that through and to see what they can do with this version. And of course, Daryl never existed in the comics. So if he's going to pull ahead as like our forefront character, or Michonne too, it's going to make it a lot different. It's going to be a different version of The Walking Dead. And so far, I think it's we've only seen a few episodes of that, but so far I think it's turned out great. So in the end, maybe everyone will die. Maybe Daryl will be the last man standing, like Beth said, and I hope he will be, and I hope that's what we do eventually see. It's going to be crazy if the series goes on for enough seasons to where we eventually think of it as Daryl's show instead of Rick's show. It's going to be crazy, or Michonne, or whoever, or Carol, or we'll see. Piers Devil said, I hope they make Whisper masks as merchandise. I wouldn't worry about that, Piers. I'm sure they will. Lots of them, probably. Maybe some with hair and stuff. I'll be sure to get one. I have my custom-made one here, which is really not that great. But, it does the job. It does well enough. Part of it, too, is that the Whisperers have the skins, but in the TV series version, a lot of them have hair, too, which tends to make it... The hair also is really nasty, right? Like it's really scary. So you got the skin, but then you got all this dead hair as well too, kind of swaying. Like when the one dodges Jesus goes to swipe and he kind of ducks under, and you see his hair go like flying, like somebody headbanging at a concert or something. It's really like, I don't know, man. It's just really got this creepy, dirty, scary kind of thing going on. It's crazy, man. So that'll be it for this video, guys. Check out the others if you haven't seen them yet from yesterday. And I hope you guys like the mid-season finale, man. I loved it. And of course, lots more videos to come during this break because it's basically like 2 months. We have all of December, all of January, and then we'll be back. So a little over 2 months. But I think it'll go by quick. And considering what we're going to see in this back half, it's going to be highly anticipated when we finally get to time to see the new episodes and such. So that's great stuff, man. So that'll be it for this video, guys. I hope you liked it. Check out the others if you haven't seen them. And subscribe if you're new. Thumb up the video. And I'll see you guys back again soon. Tomorrow probably for another Walking Dead video. It's Trev, and I'm saying peace. See you guys soon.